hỡi các đại nghĩa sĩ tân dân chủ, hỡi các anh chị em máu thịt Việt Nam. Chúng ta do dân tộc mà hình thành, vì dân chúng mà đấu tranh. Đứng dậy này, truyền cho đến mãi mãi muôn muôn về sau, là màu mỡ cho đất đai, là kết tụ của tiếng Việt, là tự hào, là di sản cho con cháu. Tinh và hồn luôn luôn cùng sông núi. Sống thì phải cho lẫm liệt, mà thác cũng phải đáng tự hào, bất khuất và hùng anh.
Trân trọng kính mời Đức Quốc công Đào Minh Quân, Tổng thống Việt Nam Cộng hòa đệ tam, cùng tất cả quý đồng nhiệm trong chính phủ quốc gia Việt Nam lâm thời đệ tam Việt Nam Cộng hòa, làm lễ chào quốc kỳ quốc ca Việt Nam Cộng hòa. Bắt đầu.
Cả chú ơi, chào tôi, chào.
Này công dân ơi, đứng lên đáp lời sông núi, đồng lòng cùng đi hy sinh tiếc gì hơn sao, vì tương lai quốc dân cùng sống và khói tinh, làm sao cho núi sông từ nay luôn vững bền, cho thấy phơi trên gương dao.
Chúng tôi trân trọng kính chào Đức Quốc công Đào Minh Quân, Tổng thống Việt Nam Cộng hòa đệ tam, và kính chào quý khán giả. Trân trọng kính mời Đức Quốc công và quý vị cùng chúng tôi nghiêm trang dâng lời cầu nguyện. Chúng con là các thành viên đồng nhiệm của Chính phủ Quốc gia Việt Nam lâm thời đệ tam Việt Nam Cộng hòa. Nguyện xin Đấng tối cao, Thượng Đế, Trời Phật và hồn thiên sông núi, các bậc tiền nhân anh hùng dựng nước và giữ nước, xin phù hộ độ trì ban phước lành cho chúng con. Xin che chở cho đất nước và đồng bào thân yêu của chúng con được thoát khỏi cộng sản và nạn chiến tranh tàn phá. Xin bảo vệ Đức Quốc công Tổng thống Đào Minh Quân và tất cả những nhà ái quốc chân chính. Xin cho chúng con thêm khôn ngoan, đoàn kết, nhẫn nại, can đảm, sáng suốt để cùng với Chính phủ Quốc gia Việt Nam lâm thời đệ tam Việt Nam Cộng hòa dẫn đưa dân tộc Việt Nam vượt qua cơn hiểm nghèo đến bến bờ hạnh phúc, vinh quang, trường cửu, mọi nhà được an hưởng thái bình, thịnh trị của thời Thượng Ngôn Thánh Đức. Xin gìn giữ và tôi luyện cho chúng con tinh thần Việt Nam chân chính. Sống thì phải cho lẫm liệt, mà thác cũng phải đáng tự hào, bất khuất và hùng anh, đúng theo gương sáng của vị lãnh đạo tinh thần của chúng con đã tuyên xưng.
The disarming of legendary Black Tiger unit.
The Vietnam War is a phrase that has become very familiar in the world from the middle of the 20th century to the present day. In the eyes of humans who love peace and freedom, and of those who have the right understanding of the war that took place in Vietnam, it is not a war between North and South or an ideological war as the media often mentioned. It was the Holy National Defense War of the Army of the Republic of Vietnam with the help of Allied forces against the atheistic and evil Communist alliance in the world to protect freedom, democracy, and human rights. It is a long battle between an angel on one side and a devil on the other. As for the Chinese Communist Party and the Vietnamese Communists, they used jungle theories to disguise themselves, flatter each other, and continue to indoctrinate and demagogue, in order to turn their gruesome crimes into communist paradise in the minds of gullible people living under their totalitarian regime. In that Holy National Defense War, people witnessed much bloodshed and noble sacrifices of the Army and people of the Republic of Vietnam and its allies to protect freedom and democracy. So many people felt down and lay still in the motherland of Vietnam, and the rest still nurture the will to continue fighting for the ideal of freedom. In which Mr. Dow Minh Quan, the young commander who fought bravely with his comrades in the frontline area of Quang Tri Province, was a witness to history.
Today, he is still engaged in a long battle and still full of enthusiasm and national spirit, with a noble mission from God, which is to lead the ideological revolution to bring freedom, peace, and prosperity to Vietnam. Mr. Dow Minh Quan was raised in the great love of the Vietnamese motherland. A mother who, although she was full of wounds from the war spread by the communists, still protected and gave her children precious and sweet milk. He witnessed the war, understood the suffering and sorrow of the nation, as well as the origin and creator of it. With his heart circulating Lac Hong blood, he also burned and boiled his will, loving mountains and rivers, but not harboring hatred but with love, just wanted to end this war immediately in peace. He not only witnessed it but also engaged in it, going to the fiercest places to share, agree with his compatriots and comrades and find ways to prevent and end it while reducing and minimizing death, sacrifice, and suffering. He did one of the things he was concerned about at that time, went through fierce battles with his comrades, and made many important feats to make the war pause without harming any comrade. These are myths, but they are true stories from his life. The famous reconnaissance and intelligence team in the Tactical Zone 1 and the Vietnam-Cambodia, Laos border with the nickname Black Tiger, under the command of Lieutenant Dow Minh Quan, created countless legends. In particular, the disarming of the unit at the end of the Vietnam War is a true story full of miraculous and unique that touch people's hearts.
At the end of February 1975, in the midst of the critical time of the war in Quang Tri, he then, with the rank of lieutenant, received orders to return to Saigon urgently. There he learned that he had to arrange for his family to evacuate to America. Meanwhile, the remaining 53 soldiers are still stationed at Fort Ong Du, near Khe Sanh Base in the northernmost province of Quang Tri. Newspapers reported that the GIểI had already withdrawn its troops to Da Nang, which meant that his unit was stationed at the Ong Du fortress that had to be sacrificed. Other commanders, if they were good, would also ponder whether to go to America or stay and fight with the unit, while they still have the self-respect and sense of responsibility of a commander. Otherwise, they would always fly with family without saying goodbye. Because of 20 years of fighting, the fear of death would also haunt the minds of the commanders as well as the soldiers. The decision between that moment of life and death was hard to judge. Lieutenant Dao Minh Quan was different. He did not hesitate to return alone to the northernmost region of Quang Tri, which was occupied by the Vietnamese communists at that time, to command his unit to overcome enemy lines and safely withdraw to Thuan and to prepare to board a boat to Da Nang.
It was reported that the communists had crossed the Mai Chan River and were entering Huong Tra district to attack Thu Thien province, causing more panic among the people. They were burdening, pushing, and stepping on each other on Highway 1 to move to the south by road, causing many tragic scenes of death. He ordered his soldiers to leave the boat and return to the shore, turning the unit into a rear guard for the people and then crossing the Hai Van Pass with them and arriving safely in Da Nang. Only then did he order to disband the unit on March 28, 1975, in Sun Cha. In those choking, touching moments, no one wanted to be away from him. They just want to follow him to continue to share the lived and dead moments with him. But then they finally followed his advice, returning to take care of their wives and children during the tumultuous time. Then he returned to Saigon alone and presented himself in Gia Dinh sub-area with Major Nguyen Duc Si for continued fighting. What a legend of a brave and responsible commander, a young man who dared to sacrifice himself, fighting alone until the last moment. With a youth full of dreams and hopes, everyone wants to live peacefully with their elderly mother and lover, with a happy family for a long time. The youth of Imperial Duke only give by fighting with such tenacity. He is truly a legend. He is the Big Dipper star that illuminates all the darkness of the world, the lotus that rises from the storm of fire.
He always taught us, always be calm. In the face, in words, and in actions, choose a path less thorny to go. Live according to reason, not live by emotions. But he still chose the thorny path for himself, and have experienced the worst moments, many times thinking that he was about to lose his life for others. Does he always accept all the sufferings of life so that future generations like us can receive the best? His life went through so many hardships that he didn't want those bad things for us to experience. His life was only about giving, including his life and honor, including sacrificing his normal desire to be with his confidant, the First Lady, living a lay life without profit, leisurely in the middle of life. So many sacrifices, but he never asked anyone for anything. When he was young, he was a person with a high sense of responsibility, a person living for society. His mother used to comment on him like that. When he decided to return to Quang Tri area to continue fighting with his unit without fear of death amidst the artillery bombardment of the Viet Cong, amidst the chaos of people, he made a commitment to himself to keep safe for the life of each comrade, with his own wisdom and intelligence. That is the uncharacteristic but human way of behavior of the Imperial Duke in every moment of life and death in his life. This is the style of a responsible leader who does not care about his own happiness, but for others in all circumstances. It is great. Anyone who is near him is assured, confident, and at peace, and also the style of a brave and resilient soldier. Even when the country was lost on April 30th, 1975, His Holiness still hoped to find the remaining generals and units to protect the country. Although his rank at that time was only a lieutenant, his respectable performance was worthy of a heroic general.
And today, that legendary hero has re-established the legendary Black Tiger unit into an infinite army, including heavenly soldiers, thousands of horses, for justice, peace, freedom, and prosperity, not only for Vietnam but for humanity and all sentient beings. He is being petitioned by the people and army to be crowned Emperor of Vietnam.
Đào Minh Quân anh hùng cứu nguy dân Việt, quên thân mình ngày ngày chung lo việc nước. Một lời thề vì dân chiến đấu, không ngại ngùng vì nước hy sinh, cho muôn đời tổ quốc quang vinh. Việt Nam Đào Minh Quân, dân đang chờ ngày vui no ấm, xóa tan bao lỗi lầm than. Việt Nam Đào Minh Quân, xây cơ đồ hồn thiên sông núi, ánh dương lên soi sáng khắp địa cầu.